Another week, another groany foot into the trudging mud that is the groan zone. Episode 149 is a special and is also late out. That's down to me, but an apology note is on Facebook and Discord. I'll be editing as I record with no audience. I apologise, my voice is a little bit croaky. It's been like this all day. I'm really sorry, groaners. This week sees us honouring a rubber shark that brought horror to many in the 70s. Yep. Good old Jaws has turned 50 years old in the UK as of August the 29th. How many of you out there went to see it in the cinema in the 70s, and how many went again on the Friday just gone when Jaws turned 50? We've also got another part of the show that is special, and it involves Admin Nicole, but more on that later. Speaking of Nicole, Jaws has some facts ready to rock for the episode about Jaws' 50th. And also, your games are, don't quote me on that, Talking Nonsense, Gimme da Question, and Admin Nicole's Anagram Anxiety. Your audience groan this week swims its way in from Babsy of Notting Hill via email. But all comes later as I can see a groan shark hurtling towards me. It's hungry. Lucky I've got groans for it, groaners. My groans. Overpriced fish and chips. Yep, I've been here before. Time and time again. I do love some good fish and chips. Shout out to the Harbour View in Seaton Sluice and Drake's in Yorkshire. Really good haddock. But what I don't love is the fact that more often than not I need a bank loan or to sell a kidney before enjoying my Friday or Saturday treat. I know fishing is a hard slog in the ocean, but come on, be real. This isn't exactly 3-star Michelin dining. Raise the quality of the tasties everywhere, but drop the cost. The less the cost is, the more customers you're going to bring in who will pay less for a tasty treat, and you'll get loads of money instead of just a few people coming in and spending less because they can't afford everything. Self-starting upgrades. You're in the middle of something and suddenly an update for your operating system or a program automatically starts and you've got no choice. Even if you say snooze, it starts again sometime later, not giving you the choice to pause it. Then more often than not, you either need to come out of what you're doing or need to fully restart, which can also stop you saving in some cases. Why not just do away with auto updates and let users decide when they want to do an upgrade or an update? Censoring cartoons. Now look, I'm a child of the 80s and I remember slapstick comedy cartoons like Tom and Jerry, etc, etc. You couldn't make them today due to ultra-offended softies and wokeism, and plus some bits of the cartoons are removed or at least censored. Is actual fun going to be censored soon? Is that before or after free will and freedom of speech die? If someone tries to blame cartoons for their child being a hellion, it's no one's fault but your own. Not movies, not games, not cartoons, your own. Leave the cartoons alone. I've groaned enough to feed the groan shark groaners, but it needs one more from the audience before it slumbers in the bottom of the groanshin. That'll be up to the audience groan later though. Enough of groans. Let's get back to games with our first fact. Jaws was released on June 20th, 1975 in the USA and is often classed as the film that launched the summer blockbuster. It is also classed as the last big film of the pre-CGI era, which is why a lot of people went in the cinema, saw Jaws and went, "That shark looks fake." That's because it is. It was made of rubber, not CGI. There'll be more facts to come later, groaners, for Jaws' 50th, as Nicole will fish them out, but now I bring you games. Think you know movies, groaners? This'll test you out. It's don't quote me on that. Yes, all you have to do is hear the quote, then name the movie. In the game answers, it'll be 1 to 2 facts instead of 3 per movie though. As I'm recording and editing at the same time, there will only be the quote, not me reading. Round 1.
What are you doing? Always drink gin with a mark, kid. You can't tell if you cut it.
Pause here, groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause if you think you know the name of that movie. Round 2.
You're an inhuman monster! I said good day! Come on, Charlie. Let's get out of here.
Well, that got quite aggressive there. That escalated quickly. Pause here, groaners. Have a little think. Name the movie, then unpause. Moving on, last round. Round number 3. Pause here, groaners. Name the movie, answer, then unpause. And with that, was your movie knowledge good enough to get these films from these small audio clips, groaners? I do hope so. We'll play more games soon enough, for Admin Nicole has something for us all. It's her 100th story for her very own section of the show, known as Creepy Corner. Congratulations, Nicole. Totally lost track of time. Didn't even realise you've been with us for that long. You've been here for what seems like ice ages. Your story for this special Creepy Corner is called Happy 100. It's been 4 long years. The ordeal, the torment, all that pain and suffering that would never be remembered. Yet for one person it was remembered. The year of the annual blessing ceremony. The one with the small village surrounded by nature where that poor boy became a tree. It was the year of Carla's blessing ceremony. Carla and Lily were the only two who grew up together. Up until the blessing ceremony, there was a third, one who wasn't as present, but he was there nonetheless. One Robin Vine. Yet to Carla, it was always just Robbie. Robin was Lily's older brother. He was the same age as Carla. They were always there for each other, and Robin often picked up a lot of slack and took on a lot of the blame to keep Lily out of trouble. He knew she never meant it. She was just a slow learner, as some are when it came to her chores, and in their village, slow wasn't an option. Where Robin focused on fun, Carla focused on routine and doing things as they were meant to. Lily was a simple girl, but had the biggest heart of anyone. That's why she blindly chose to trust her village growing up. Robin taught her everything she knew and got in a lot of trouble to keep her safe. Carla always appreciated the help, but warned him to be careful. After all, there was only so much the Grand Council would allow. The year before Robin and Carla's blessing ceremony, Robin noticed things weren't what they seemed. For a long time, he had suspected as much, and with Carla, they were determined to find out. However, Lily could never know. She was the one with the most faith and trust in their village. They couldn't crush that for her. They knew something was wrong, something almost unreal about their village. They were so close to answers, but the days before their blessing ceremony, Robin broke a sacred rule. He wasn't caught, but he stole forms from the Grand Council office. He knew it would lead back to Carla when they found out, so he did what he had to. Thankfully, his blessing was a rare one that wasn't so visible, so he was able to fake it. Pretend nature refused to bless him. Pour all attention on him to keep eyes off Carla. Documents tucked away under his jacket. He was sacrificed that year. That's the year Lily stopped believing in her village, and the year she was forced to accept she never had a brother to begin with. She broke that night and was never the same since. Now with Carla back to her old self, after all this time, she had answers. She was scared, hurt, confused. She thought the annual refresh ceremony killed the chosen one for that year. Robin stumbled around checking boxes and hiding behind doors. He assured Carla they had a little time before they came back, so they could talk quickly, but then they had to leave. There's more questions than I'm guessing you have time to answer, Robbie, so tell me where we are and what this place even is, Carla asked. I've been scouring this place in hiding for the last 5 years. Going by the documents I took with me, I knew I wasn't going to die. This place is a factory of sorts, created under the real world. A place with so much money poured into it, even the gods themselves wouldn't know it's not real. They create what they call evolution, forcing humans to evolve, but even that isn't exactly true. Carla, we're not human. We never were. We were created by a digital code, grown in test tubes in the labs. The blessing ceremony is to evolve us further. It merely tells the scientists what animals or plants to use, and we're injected with it there and then. We are weapons, scientists, explorers, but we are not human, and we are far from being free, Robin explained. Carla took a deep breath and sat on a nearby desk to take it all in. As Robin explained, they had been doing this for at least 100 years now. The adults and the so-called parents are nothing more than scientists monitoring them up close. It's all fake to keep them in line, to help them grow into what they needed to be. For an evil lab, it's pretty impressive though. It's a long time to pour in that much effort and dedication. Happy 100 of them, I guess. They should really celebrate. I wonder if there's any cake we can steal. Sure wish I had time to freak out and process all this though. At least it can't get any worse, right? What's with those eggs over there anyway? Carla asked. The eggs that resided in large pods were the newer additions, no longer needing to invest so much time and effort into growing humanoid life forms. They found a way to grow them from eggs, quicker, better, able to inject DNA straight into it, to let them grow to their full potential without having to raise them. Time was running short though. It was time to leave while they still could. However, as they neared the door, Carla saw one of the eggs move out of the corner of her eye. If these eggs, or whatever was in them, were truly like them, she couldn't leave it be. Who knows what those scientists would do once it hatched? She told Robin she had to save it, at least that one. So he agreed, but he heard footsteps. They grabbed the egg out of the tube and ran to the back of the room, hiding behind boxes. Carla had the egg in her lap as the scientist entered the room. She was starting to think it may not have been her best idea yet, as the egg began to crack. Thankfully, they forgot something and left the room, just long enough for the egg to hatch. A small fist punched through the egg, then a foot, before the eggshells were all over the floor. Carla picked up what seemed to be a turtle shell in her hands and saw 2 legs pop out of the top of it. So she turned the shell around and out popped its head. A small child created just like she was, but deep down, no matter how she felt, she couldn't let them have him. Her life may not have been perfect, or even all that miserable, not counting the last 4 years anyway, but it was shrouded in deceit and lies. Who knows what they would have done if Carla had been allowed to stay? Who knows what even happened to Lily after Carla was taken away? This boy deserved better. The small boy in her arms grabbed her face, looked her in the eyes, before he uttered a single word. Mama? Well, Nicole, that was a very interesting story. Pretty creepy too. Slipping in some humour, I see. The shell bit sounds like a strange nightmare, I gotta admit. Brr. Before I start picturing the thing, let's have another fact, Nicole. A 2008 documentary about the making of Jaws was called The Shark Is Still Working. A 2019 play about the making of Jaws, written by Ian Shaw, that's Robert Shaw's son. Robert Shaw played Quint in the movie, and Joseph Nixon is called The Shark Is Broken. Original titles I do, if I do so myself. On a side note, just a small note, Windows 95 is now 30 years old. How old do you feel now, groaners? How time flies. My first actual PC operating system all those years ago. Ah, memories. Groaners, I hereby call your attention because now I must ask, why oh why? Bryan Adams is doing a concert in Newcastle as I record this show. As much as I like Mr. Adams as a performer, he has banned phones from his gig. Granted, this may be to protect copyright if people record him as he performs, but come on. Aside from a ticket stub, how are people supposed to have memories of their own? What are they going to do? Buy merch with Myrtle was here 2025, Brian Adams, Newcastle, seat 24B. More and more artists are doing this. Just have a designated photo area. The security could make sure only a photo is taken, or photos, and not a video. Spoiling memories for everyone. I simply must ask, why oh why? The groan shark, he's around again. He's sniffing. Yep, he can definitely smell the audience groan. Into the groan shin it goes. Hello, Mr. E. My audience groan starts like this. At my place of work, we still use the old-fashioned phones. You know, the ones with the really annoying cord attached to them. I have lost track of how many times a day I untangle it. I feel like I've jumped into a time machine and gone back to the 90s again. Keep up the good work, smiley face. Well, Babsy, I must confess, we have them in my place of work too. It's like trying to do a Scout's Knots badge when you need to untangle it. Good groan. Now, if you want to groan in like Babsy did, share your groantent, give us your ideas or your feedback, you can do it in a myriad of ways. As well as emailing, which is of course thegroanzonepod@gmail.com. You can do the following. You can listen to any one of the platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Podbean itself, Audible, wherever. Drop a comment, we'll try and review it, then put your content, your ideas, or whatever it is, into the show. You can join us on Facebook groups under the Groan Zone Podcast Facebook group. You can find us on Discord under the Groan Zone, where we normally would record at 8:30 on a Friday, Greenwich Mean Time. Of course, things do happen, but we always will endeavour to get the podcast recorded and out before the end of the Sunday of that week. You can contact either myself, that's Mr. E. Groaner, or Admin Nicole, that's Nicole Amos, on Facebook Messenger. And I believe those are the only ways you can do it so far. More ways will be coming in future, Groaners, but a while ago I did say there'd be a WhatsApp and everything else. I will be revisiting that in future. There may even be live groan-ins, where of course, if swearing occurs, there will be a disclaimer, because I can't control what people say. But anyway, the groan shark's belly is full, but we aren't done, groaners. More is still to come, with more groantent and games, with talking nonsense front and centre right now. Round 1. If you lose your marbles or get committed, you could be classed as one of these. Your nonsense is a... Pause here, groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Round 2. A type of playing card, yet also a supervillain. Your nonsense is a... Pause here, groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Last round, round 3. You could feel this way about someone or something. Your nonsense is... Nims. Pause here, groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. And with that, the answers for talking nonsense will come later on, groaners. Whoop, Nicoles landed another fact straight on the deck. Jaws was based on an actual 1916 incident at the Jersey Shore. A rogue shark killed 4 bathers, 2 of them in an estuary. There is a similar scene in the movie, that movie being Jaws, of course. As the episode carries on, there'll be more facts, but now we move over to Name Our Zero of the Week. Justin Timberlake is in our sights this week. Why, groaners? Allow me to elaborate. Admin Nicole told me about this. So Timberlake had this worldwide tour going on, and he was performing in Romania in mid-July this year. Well, based on what I found, I doubt you can call it performing. 1. He arrived late. 2. There was minimal singing. 3. It felt like he didn't want to be there. 4. Instead of him singing, he'd do a few words, then have the audience sing the songs for him. Sometimes he didn't even bother holding the microphone and just left it on the floor. 5. He kept his face covered with a hood and sunglasses, which felt like he was disconnecting himself from the audience. 6. Offended the audience by asking if this is what the weather was like as it was raining. 7. He seemed not to care as people walked out of the gig demanding refunds and that he returns to form. This concert has now been known as the karaoke concert because of how much singing the audience actually did. I couldn't agree with the audience more. They should have refunds and everything else. They are there to see you, Mr. Timberlake, not to sing your songs for you whilst you stand there like an unfeeling moron. Sort yourself out. I'm not a fan. You've had some floor filler tunes. Until you get it together and you return to form, for your fans and for yourself, you are a 0, Mr. Timberlake. Loud and clear. 0 status activated. And now, straight from 0, we go to a what the, which I've literally just found out about. American sports broadcaster NBC were recently forced to cut off a live broadcast after it looked like 2 audience members were caught getting raunchy in the stands. So viewers had tuned in to see a baseball game between the Athletics and Texas Rangers on Saturday just gone. The cameras loomed on 2 individuals touching a very different kind of base, shall we say. As the camera panned across the audience in Sacramento, a couple could be seen sitting in the front row and they were looking directly into the camera and smiling. It was then that the man, wearing sunglasses above the brim of his baseball cap, reached over and began fondling his partner's chest. The commentators had nothing to say, and the footage cut back to the game. The commentators were then forced to apologise for describing the man as a handful. Honestly, I know people like being on live TV, but have a bit of decorum, mate. And granted, your other half may have enjoyed that, but come on, people you know are going to see that, and people tuning in live don't want to see that. I'm sorry, pal, but just what the hell? What the? And now, moving the show along, groaners, we have a final game, well, almost final game of the episode, in the form of Gimme da Question. I've got the answer, but I need you to pair it up with the right question, groaners. Do your best. Here we go. Round 1. Your answer is Voyager. Your questions are A. What is the name of the satellite which broke through the edge of our solar system recently? B. What was the name of a failed Star Trek TV show from the 80s? And C. What was the name of the movie where humans do interstellar travel to save the planet? That planet being Earth. Pause here, groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause. Moving along. Round 2. Your answer is Haribo. Your questions are A. Who owns the rights to Transformers and similar properties? B. What is the name of a company who produce sweets such as Nostalgics and Star Mix? Or C. Which TV channel runs in Hungary and features mostly cookery and history shows? Pause here, groaners. Have a little think. Answer, then unpause, then move on to your final round. Round 3. Your answer is The Crazies. Your questions are A. Which 70s horror movie got a 2010 remake? B. What is it called when you get a creepy feeling? Or C. What was a 60s TV show in the UK about a family at war with each other? Pause here, groaners. Have a little think. And then unpause because the answers will be coming soon. Final fact of the episode. Last one for Joseph's 50th anniversary from Admin Nicole. The shark special effects had to be welded, hammered and bolted together, and that led directly to the happiest accident of the film. The mechanical shark, aka Bruce, turned out to be such an unwieldy, unconvincing stupid thing that Spielberg was obligated to keep it off screen for most of Jaws, because it probably would have been a comedy. This led to a more ominous feeling during the film. And with the last fact, we will just say one more time, happy birthday to Bruce, aka Jaws himself. Happy birthday, fella. I know you're well since retired now, but congratulations on being 50 years old, Jaws. And of course, that final fact brings us on to the game answers. Starting us off, we have Gimme the Question first. So your answer, or should I say question, for round 1 was A. What is the name of the satellite which broke through the edge of our solar system? Yes, it did that recently. It was Voyager 1, I believe. Voyager 2's been turned off, I think. Don't quote me on that. I may be wrong, groaners. Round 2, your answer was Haribo. Your correct question was B. What is the name of a company who produce sweets such as Nostalgics and Star Mix? And of course, my favourite, Tanktastics. Last round, round 3, your answer was The Crazies. Your correct question was A. Which 70s horror movie got a 2010 remake? It starred Timothy Oliphant in a really good role. I can fully recommend the 1973 and 2010 version of The Crazies. Enjoy it, but don't get too scared. It's just a film. Talking nonsense answers are up. Your answer, or should I say your nonsense for round 1, was a lunatic. For round 2, your nonsense was of course a Joker, or the Joker, if you're talking about the supervillain. And lastly, round 3, your nonsense is smitten. Kind of like the way I feel about pickled onions. I'm smitten by them. Now, groaners, I know I did promise movie facts, but my voice just can't take it. So unfortunately, there's going to be no movie facts this week. There will be in 2 weeks, when hopefully my voice has returned to us. But for round 1, for don't quote me on that, your movie was The Sting. Great Robert Redford film, also starring the late Paul Newman. See it. It's fantastic. Round 2, ultimate classic, one of the best films of the 70s for kids and adults. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Or is it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? I can never remember. But it's still a classic, featuring the late Gene Wilder. Really good film. Lastly, round 3. If you don't know this one, it's what the podcast episode's about. It's Jaws. And lastly, the answer to what the hell am I from last week? The species of the predator is called a youcher. I'm not going to spell it out here because I forgot how. I know it starts with a Y and ends with an A. I know it's not youcher! Or you stub your toe. No, nothing like that. Anyway, those are the game answers all done, groaners. I hope you scored some points. I really do. But now, here's the last game of the episode from Admin Nicole. It's anagram anxiety. And I've really got to be careful with how I say this anagram. Amenhotep, feel peony. Your clue? Jaws gain inspiration from Moby Dick and this play. The answer to Admin Nicole's Brain Buster will come next week. It'll also be on the Podbean website, it'll be on Discord, and it'll be on the Facebook group. I know I keep forgetting to put the pictures up, groaners, but I will endeavour to get better at doing that. And on that note, groaners, again, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope to see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.